In today's session of Divorce Court, Leslie and Michael thought they had it made. A huge house, expensive cars, and designer clothes. But Michael says when the money dried up, Leslie kept on spending.
Now, I provided her with almost a live-in maid. Clothes were bought like you couldn't believe. With the money that she got weekly from me, she bought jewelry.
Oh, that is not true.
With my income, she took upon herself to live the lifestyle that I was not able to afford.
Excuses, excuses, excuses.
But Leslie says when the going got tough, Michael just took off.
Your Honor, he abandoned us.
No, I abandoned you. The bottom line is that I needed to get out of a failed marriage.
So you did it the cowardly way. You waited till she was gone.
Today, Leslie Schmitz and Michael Rutter face the judge in divorce court.
All rise. Court is now in session. Mablean Ephraim presiding. You may be seated.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the matter of Leslie Schmitz versus Michael Rutter. Mrs. Schmitz, I'm advised that after 8 years of marriage that you've ended this, you want out.
That's correct, Your Honor.
What is that about?
Well, after 8 years of marriage, when things got just a little tough, not like we hadn't had tough times before, my husband abandoned my family and myself.
When you say your family, are you talking about your children?
Our children. Yes, our children. One of our children was only 1 year old. I went away to get a little time and a little space. He was supposedly going up to Santa Cruz to do some work. When I came back, the house was empty. He had sold most of the things. He had put he had put some stuff in storage, but he put all my clothes and all my children's clothes in the garage and left it open. He also gave my car to someone that he owed money to.
He gave your car away?
Yes.
Your Honor, I wish to interject here, if I may. I provided Leslie with a lifestyle that was rather lavish for 5+ years.
What do you mean by lavish lifestyle?
A lavish lifestyle provided by my money from my first divorce settlement.
So
did he provide the lavish lifestyle, or did you provide it?
I did,
Your Honor, we're talking about a settlement of $75,000 with her first husband.
$75,000?
Correct.
Well, that probably was used up in 2 years or less.
At least, if not sooner.
That's correct.
Your
and
Honor,
when it was used up, we had to leave our home in Santa Cruz and move into his mother's house.
Well, let me hear what he has to say. So you're saying that you had a divorce settlement from a previous marriage of $75,000?
Yes, ma'am.
And the minute you used up the divorce settlement, the $75,000...
And my IRA account.
Then everything was gone?
Yes.
And you lost everything?
Yes.
Your Honor.
And your husband didn't contribute to any of that?
And
is that what you're saying?
to what?
Any of the things that you acquired?
He did contribute a little.
If I may, Your Honor.
Yeah, tell me something.
Okay, my background is a licensed building contractor. And I provided her for 5 years of our marriage with a minimum of at least $500,000 income in that 5-year period. Okay?
Compared to her $75,000?
Correct. Now, I provided her with almost a live-in maid, a maid that came daily on a regular basis, Monday through Friday.
Why? Because I went into labor at 24
Honor,
weeks.
Let him finish.
Okay.
Tell me your side.
All right. She was of mine when we moved into our new home to buy all new furnishings.
This was during the 5 years before she got her settlement?
This is the 5 years of our marriage. Okay. With my income, she took upon herself to live the lifestyle that I was not able to afford, although I kept bringing the income in.
And what was that? You said she furnished the house with all new furniture.
Right.
That
exactly.
was before or after she got her divorce settlement?
This was after the settlement, during our marriage.
Okay. So was that your money as a contractor or her money from the divorce settlement?
It was my money as a contractor, some of her money as a settlement.
So you bought all new furniture for the house. And what type of house are we talking about?
4,000 square feet.
A 4,000 square foot house is what you lived in?
Yes, ma'am.
For 5 years?
No, ma'am. We had just moved in to that house because that was closer to his work. We lived in another house that was smaller and a lot less expensive.
Because I was so busy, we moved into the area so that it was easier for me to get my work done.
Well, now, I hope that you moved into a 4,000 square foot house. Not only was it easier for you to get your work done, you could afford it, I would think.
I was at the time.
Only for about 8 months, and then he left.
So you were working and making pretty good money at that time?
Yes, I was.
And the reason you were making
And
good
then
money?
you bought all new furniture and what else?
Well, for the business, I had to purchase a new truck. At the same time, we purchased her a new car.
And what's
My
the,
car
is
was
that
not
the car
new.
that you said
My
that she
car
sold?
was
That
my
you gave
car-
away?
He
I
gave
did
it
not
away.
give away
I
the
pawned
car.
my jewelry.
Miss Smith, hold on. I'm trying to find
Okay.
something.
The car was in need of repairs. This is at the time
That's
that
not true.
the car was in need of repair, and I was unable to have the time to fix it before I left town. So I put it in the shop, and I went up north.
What type of car are we talking about?
What is it, a Mercedes?
It's a
You don't know
station
a
wagon.
Mercedes? Like, what is it, a Mercedes? You sound like...
It's a Mercedes wagon. What year it is, I do not know.
Oh, but it was a Mercedes that you put in
It's a
for repairs.
1988. It's not a new car, and it was never new when we bought it.
So you put that in for repairs and you left and went up north.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you didn't get it out?
No, I didn't have time to get it out.
Didn't have time.
Didn't have time. You didn't have the money.
You couldn't write a
I
check
had to get,
send it.
Your Honor, I could not afford the situation that I was in. And I
So we
did not
left.
abandon
What do
the
you mean you
kids.
couldn't afford the
I
situation you
abandoned
were in?
her. I could not keep up with her lifestyle.
You didn't work during this marriage?
Yes, I did.
So you were contributing something to the income as
Absolutely,
well?
Your Honor. I worked
So what is he
part-time
talking
doing
about, your
mammography.
lavish lifestyle?
I'm sorry, what?
Were you a big spender?
Your Honor,
I was not a big spender.
I can't remember a 6-month period straight that she held a regular job.
I
She did
worked
a lot.
part-time. Your Honor, I had 3 children.
Your Honor, with the money that she got weekly from me, she bought jewelry.
Oh, that is not true. That is such a lie. I bought your wedding ring, Michael.
Let him get it out. Jewelry, what else?
The cars, the clothes,
Cars.
the part-time work
Cars?
that she had every time a new job proposition came up, clothes were bought like you couldn't believe.
A new what?
Clothes
Wardrobes.
like what? Name brand clothes?
Oh, I
Absolutely.
went to
All
work. I
of the
did
latest in
mammography. I
fashions?
worked in a doctor's office.
So you thought she was just buying the clothes to be fashionable.
That's right, Your Honor.
I bought those clothes.
And that's why you left out of this marriage?
Other than the other things involved with that.
Like what?
Yeah.
Well, she went off on these overnight sales presentations.
That
I
you're
left
not so
every
sure whether they were
Sunday.
sales presentations or not.
That could be so, Your Honor.
Oh,
Is that what you're
oh.
saying? Or is that what you're suggesting?
You better not.
I don't know that, Honor. I don't know
You
that.
better
But,
not
but
even
why?
say that.
What's the problem with her going
You
out on
better
these
not.
overnight? And if he does, what you gonna do?
I don't know. Sorry, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm
He
not
can say
saying.
that. Don't threaten him about saying
I'm
something.
not-
in
Well,
this
because
courtroom.
I know for a fact that
Your Honor-
other women were involved.
Your Honor,
with him
I'm not
leaving.
saying that my wife did anything of that nature. All I'm saying is that I was very concerned about the money being spent for the preparation of the trips that were being done.
That was all paid for by the company.
And no return.
They would send a car for me, take me to the airport. They paid for they gave me
So maybe that's the part he didn't like, that
They
you
gave-
had a car coming for you and they sent you to the
a
airport.
nice little limousine, and then I came back.
Did that bother you? That she got to go out in a limousine? And
No, it didn't bother me at all. I was excited about the prospect of her possibly making an income.
So I
but when
was
you didn't
leaving-
see the return on the
possibly-
investment, you were wondering
That's right,
whether
Your
she
Honor.
was making an income
That is
or whether
right.
she was doing something else.
That is absolutely right.
When divorce court returns, Leslie testifies about Michael turning his back on his own family.
Your Honor, he abandoned us.
No, I abandoned you. I abandoned a liability here.
If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourttv.com. Divorce Court is back in the case of Leslie Schmitz, who says her husband Michael moved out and left her while she was away on vacation.
So what does she mean by you left and ran out? What are you talking about?
Your Honor, I couldn't keep up with the lifestyle. The involvement with her parents in our lives was incredible.
So now we got a
And
mother-in-law
overbearing.
problem and a
And
father-in-law
overbearing.
problem. The parents were overbearing. What did
Just
they do?
Excuses.
Well, when I left, they assumed a lot of the responsibility.
$31,000 worth.
$31,000 worth of money that they spent so-called on the kids.
So-called. I've got all the
$31,000 on the
checks right
kids?
here.
What that money did, Your Honor, is it paid her rent, it paid her living expenses, it paid her maintenance, it paid for insurance if she had any on the car. To me, it was a very clear sign
what-
of her inability
Excuse me,
to make a living.
Left.
To make
you
a
left
living.
me without a car. I had to pawn my jewelry. I have the pawn receipts right here.
You mean the jewelry that he bought?
He didn't buy the jewelry.
Who bought the jewelry?
I did. This was jewelry I had even before this marriage.
So when he left you, there was no money. Is that what you're saying?
When he left, there was nothing.
Let me explain.
Nothing.
Let me understand something. You said I had to go away to get a little rest and
Well, no, it wasn't a little rest. It was just kind of to.
It was a vacation.
It was not.
To clear your
Louisiana
head
is a
is what you
vacation.
said.
That's a
Louisiana
vacation.
in the middle of summer is a vacation.
Well, for a lot of people, Louisiana is a vacation.
It's
Don't be so
fine.
hard on those of us who can only go to Louisiana
No,
for
I'm
vacation.
just saying it's not a vacation. No, Your Honor, I go to Louisiana every summer. My whole family's there. But it wasn't like it was it wasn't like I was on the beach in Hawaii or
But
something.
you said you had to go clear your head. So does it mean you left the children and you left him there?
No, the children were with me.
Oh, you took the
No,
children with
I
you.
had our
No, you-
I had our older son with me in Santa Cruz for the first month.
So why did you leave
That is
when you're
not true.
But why
That
did
is
you
such a lie.
Mrs.
It was-
Smith, talk to me. Why did you leave when you were in the middle of all this financial problems? How could you go clear your head and take a vacation or go to
It wasn't
Louisiana?
a vacation, Your Honor.
Okay,
It
how
was
could you leave?
because things were so bad, and this is a yearly thing I do with my children. Is I take them to Louisiana because they have cousins and farms.
So you go
and-
see relatives.
Exactly.
The bottom line is that I needed to get out of a failed marriage.
You just wanted out.
I wanted out
He
badly.
was supposed to go
So
to
you
work
couldn't
and
tell
never
your wife
came
that
back.
you were leaving?
No.
I tried to
No.
for a while, and
Oh.
it was discussed in the sense that, you know, she was under the impression that I wouldn't leave.
Nope, absolutely.
So you did it the cowardly way. You waited till she was gone.
Exactly.
Is that what you're telling me?
Your Honor, no. I
We
left.
discussed this,
Oh,
and we
Miss
knew there were
Smith?
problems.
I left town before she decided
We
to go
made a
take her.
commitment to give our marriage 6 months.
She
to
finishes
work
your
on
sentences.
it.
So you were supposed to be separating to give it 6 months to see if it would work.
No, not even separating. Just we were gonna move into a smaller house. I had been looking all over.
So
for-
you had planned to move.
Yes.
And when you got back, he had already moved.
He was gone.
So what are the debts you're talking about that he left you with?
He left me with the debt for the car that I
Okay.
pawned my jewelry for. He left me
So
with
when
the
you
debt.
pawned your jewelry, did you pay it off?
It took me 2 years, but I did.
How much was that?
The total is $2,712.42.
That's for the car.
That's for the pawn for the car.
You mean you received $2,712 when you pawned it?
No, that's how much it cost for me over 2 years to pay the interest on it.
To pay the interest on the pawn? Or
Right,
to pay,
on the pawn.
Once you pawned the jewelry to pay off the car. How much
Correct.
did you pay off for the car?
$864.86.
So an $864 bill cost you $2,712?
Correct.
Your Honor, that's a perfect
That's
example.
not good math.
That's
Well, I know, Your Honor, but I
that-
didn't have anything else to do. I didn't have a home. He left me homeless, without a car.
You went to live with your parents.
Yes, I did, for 1 month. And then I got into an apartment, and then 6 months later, I got into a house.
So then how?
And I was working.
So what's the $31,000? Where did that come from?
$31,000.
that is money that her parents spent. Her parents spent by
like
choice.
your $3,000 dental bill?
Her
Well, let me
parents-
just let her explain it to me. You're saying that her parents just, by choice, they just decided to give your children $31,000, and
That's
what?
not-
It's an example of her parents showing that they felt the need to take care of their daughter along with her kids.
We didn't have
All
a
that-
choice.
all
Well,
that
thank
is
God for parents when the
again-
husband wasn't doing it and the father.
It's again, no, Honor, I was out of there by this time. I was out of the picture at this time.
Out of the
we know.
picture and not being married and not living in the same household
And at
does
the s-
not mean that you abdicate all of your responsibility,
I
Mr.
did not
Rudder.
advocate, no. I
Your
sent her
Honor-
money on a monthly basis.
Your Honor, that is not true. And Your Honor, can I tell you this? That he was working at a job. He left that job, got a better paying job, and decreased my child support.
That
Well,
is
let me
not
ask
true.
you something. I want to know the expenses that you
Child
incurred
care-
on behalf of your children during the time that he wasn't sending you money,
Child
as
care.
opposed to the
Right.
stuff that your parents were giving. Because if he's right to some extent, if your parents chose to give you money that equals $31,000 in the last 2 years, I can't very well make him responsible
They
for
did-
reimbursing all of that. But if he left you with certain debts of the relationship, then I can say do something about that.
Yes, $1,500 to the DWP. And there was
have that?
electrical bills. I have all the checks, Your Honor. There's so much stuff
well, that
here.
shows me
This-
that at least you paid those, so that tells me there was a bill.
Right,
I don't
and-
think you give the electric company money.
No. And, Your Honor, child care expenses. While
how
I was
much was
working,
child care?
$200 a week.
For how long? The last 2 years?
Yes.
And you didn't have a child support order?
No, I still don't have a child support order.
So it seems like you got to get back to work
Oh, yes.
to continue that same lifestyle. You don't have the maid anymore.
No, only twice a week. I mean, no, I'm sorry. Once every 2 weeks.
Ah, she told on herself.
No, really. No, it wasn't. It's one time every 2 weeks, twice a month.
All right. Anything else you need to tell me?
No, Your Honor.
You asking for any reimbursements?
You better not.
Your Honor, I'm just
Why
asking
you always say you
to.
better not?
Because of all that I have done, Your Honor, he abandoned us.
No, I abandoned you. You. Not
Well,
the kids. But
that's
I
me.
abandoned a liability here, Your Honor.
Excuse me, and what about your children? What about your children, Michael?
I am paying for my children.
Now, but were you then?
So you no longer want to lavish her like you did when you were in love.
That is absolutely correct, Your Honor.
Lavish? $400.
I'm going to take a break. Make a decision.
When divorce court returns, the judge renders her verdict and an update on the case of Cathy Russian versus James Russian.
It was just a bunch of hairy, overgrown men scratching and drinking in a bar room at night.
Divorce court will be back in session in a moment. Divorce court is back and the verdict is in the case of Michael Rutter, who says his marriage failed because his wife Leslie couldn't stop spending money.
Back in the matter of Leslie Smits versus Michael Rutter. Mrs. Smits, the fact that you had food, some of these bills, checks that you gave me include food, includes household supplies, includes clothing, includes a lot of other expenditures that you have put out over the last 2.5 years on your behalf and behalf of the children. Unfortunately, I can't order him to reimburse you for all of your expenditures on behalf of the children and yourself. What you need to do, and what every parent needs to do when they have custody of minor children, is to seek a court order, or if you are a wife or for a number of years or a husband and you're not working at the time of separation, you have to seek a court order for support. And if you don't seek the court order for support for whatever reason, then I can't go back retroactively and order support. That's why we have child support laws. So here's the order of the court. Mr. Rutter, you're ordered to reimburse Mrs. Smith the sum of $6,851 for child care expenses over the last 2.5 years, and I've credited you with all of the money which you have already paid out, and that's the balance remaining. In terms of the other debts that were left, the rent that was left unpaid for the house you were renting at separation, the car debt that you turned in the car and didn't have time to get it out, which I don't understand what that means, didn't have time, $1,500 for the DWP bill, and it was another, $2,000 owing on the child's private school. You have to share the cost of that. That's an additional $5,106, your half, Mr. Rutter. I'm ordering you to pay that for a total of $11,957. You're ordered to reimburse Mrs. Smith. That's the order of the court. Court's adjourned.
All rise.
When divorce court returns, an update on the case of Cathy Russian versus James Russian.
As soon as he got that bike, he woo.
Did you put him out for cheating, or did you put him out because he was riding his motorcycle too much?
Closed captioning for divorce court provided by. If you would like to have the judge hear your case in divorce court, call us toll-free at 1-877-311-2222 or email us at www.divorcecourttv.com. And now for an update on a previous case in divorce court. Cathy Russian said her 9-year marriage to James fell apart when she loaned him the money to buy a motorcycle.
As soon as he got that bike, he woo. You want to talk about encounters? There's
No,
a
we don't
close
want to
encounter
talk
sitting
about
right over
encounters.
there.
You don't want to get me in this.
Did you put him out for cheating, or did you put him out because he was riding his motorcycle too much?
James said it was Cathy's jealousy over his new friends that finally drove him away.
She was always invited. Members of the club were always calling her up. And the ladies, you know how ladies talk.
Oh, please.
And-
It was just a bunch of hairy, overgrown men scratching and drinking in a bar room at night.
Don't be that evil and upset with him because he's a biker and you're not.
Cathy brought James to court to get back the money she said he still owed her for the motorcycle. But James' new wife said he'd already given Cathy enough money. The judge ordered James to pay Cathy $800 for the money owed on the motorcycle. James reports that he's paid Cathy the money and plans to take his son on a trip at Christmas.
It's great. I mean, I'm getting a lot of the money that I put out, I'm going to get that back.
The verdict, I feel, was kind of unfair. I wish that the judge would have looked more into what my full responsibility was in this part as far as my financial expenditures.
We can be friends, but we'll do the best we can for the sake of the children.